Autism Dads Social Club video podcast where I, your host, Frederick Jackson, am ready to take you on an unforgettable journey. Each episode is a heartfelt exploration into the lives of fathers navigating the beautiful complexities of raising children with autism. Get ready for an inspiring ride filled with practical insight, valuable resources tailored to families with kids with autism. Together, we'll shine a light on the extraordinary fathers who are reshaping the landscape of autism parenting through their unwavering dedication to fatherhood. Join us now on the Autism Dads Social Club video podcast. Let me share my screen. So while I'm bringing this information up, let me just tell you who I am. So professionally, I am the Family Relations Coordinator at the Center for Autism Research at CHOP. What does that mean? That means that my sole responsibility here is to engage with communities, organizations that are servicing the communities for collaboration. That's what I am supposed to do. I take it a step further, and I'll talk a little bit more about that and give you a little brief introduction to what we do there. So let me get this working right first, and then we'll start talking. All right, what do you see?
Currently a black screen, excuse me.
Why is that? Screen. Let's pause. Okay. That's weird. Okay. All right. Okay, it's not going to work in presenter view. All right. That is fine. Because I know this information, so. All right. You see my entire screen, correct?
Yeah, we can see your PowerPoint.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. So here's the basics about the Center for Autism Research at CHOP. I am only just one part of the outreach team there. The other two individuals, Susanna Reimer, who is my manager, she's a caseworker by trade, social worker, by trade. Emily Lasasso, who is now the outreach manager. And then you have me. I'm going to let you guys know how I came about this position is simply by the grace of God. If anybody here practice Christianity in a spirituality sense, I'm a former firefighter, a volunteer firefighter where I live at. I'm also a former corrections officer in the state of Delaware. I reside in PA, but I was working there. So my whole focus was law enforcement protection. How I received this job is that while I was working a 9-to-5, I was going out in the community and doing advocacy work by myself. Just basically getting a table, going to the dollar store, buying a bunch of fidgets, putting them out there and talking to people about my journey as an autism father and things that I want to do in the community and things that I have already done. So that was my resume for this position. This position requires someone with a college education. I only have a GED. They saw what I did. They believed in me. They wiped that qualification away. I have been working with scientists, doctors, and psychologists from all over the world in this position, just basically for who I am. The amount of aggression, and I use that word loosely, aggression that I place in this particular space to make sure that fathers are advocated for and heard. So why do I tell you that? Is that anybody here can do anything that I do 10 times better. Don't limit yourself because you're not in this profession. You can start advocating and really make a change and a difference in what you believe in. And that's love, empathy, and also respect when it comes to autism fathers and our children and loved ones in this space. So that's a little bit about CAR, how I got here. This is our mission. Our mission is to understand the causes of autism, to develop effective interventions and supports the research, to serve the needs of autistic individuals and their family members through education and guidance throughout the lifespan, and to train the next generation of master clinicians and scientists in the state of the science best practices for autism screening, diagnosis, and treatment. These are some workshops that we have. So I'll make sure that I get John. And John, you're on my mailing list. You'll see a lot of the workshops that are sometimes virtual. Please join us. Just because you guys are down in Texas does not mean that you cannot join this virtual workshop and hear from the clinicians, and kind of get a perspective on maybe some things that you want to add to the journey of your loved one and you as a parent. So these are just some of the workshops that we actually do. Next steps for families with a new diagnosis, where we go over understanding what autism is in a clinical sense and things that you can be doing. Next steps to adolescence, that is a transition age, talking about things that you can actually complete during that time. Next steps into adulthood. Now, that one is actually in person. It's a cool workshop where we separate the parents and the actual autistic adult. We put the autistic adults in one class together so they can build relationships. They can also learn about cyberbullying, how to navigate social media and other platforms, right? Money, what does money look like? Daily habit, hygiene. We actually take a full day to teach them and also listen to how they actually look at these critical steps in their adulthood. The whole time, the parents are downstairs learning about what autism looks like in adulthood. So that's a workshop that is really cool. Unfortunately, it is in person. And then we got next steps for professionals and families. And you see the other workshops that we actually have. These workshops that you see down at the bottom are all virtual. So once again, I'll send those flyers out when we have our upcoming ones. Please feel free to join us. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal story. We're going to be like sliding through a lot of time. I'm going to try to condense it down. My journey is very, very huge. It's very long. It has a very depressing story, but I've come about out of it. I'm really supported. Once I just think that God placed me in this because he knew where my heart and passion was to protect people, but he had to transform it into this actual advocacy work. It's not a badge, it's not a gun. It's actually using my mouth, using my mind, and most importantly, my heart to articulate what the needs are of this community, but also protect them. So I want to start off with this. Fathers play a vital but historically underrepresented role in autism support systems. Yet research shows engagement improves outcomes for the whole family. This is true. We need to be present in the household. Understanding autism and responding to challenging behavior. So I'm going to go over just some basic things. Once again, I'm going to throw in some real personal information about my challenges. So we all understand that autism is a neurodevelopmental condition marked by differences in social communication, repetitive behaviors, and sensory differences. Behaviors, including what we consider meltdowns, are often communication of unmet needs linked to sensory overload, frustration, and transitions. Research consistently shows that behavior is function-based, not intentional defiance. Applied behavior analysis is one of the core therapies that actually work with this, and positive behavioral support frameworks. So I'm going to tell you how this looks like in my life. Shane was diagnosed, my oldest son Shane was diagnosed at the age of 3. He did not exhibit any of the behaviors which I was seeing on television that characterize autism. What he was basically showing in the early stages was a real timid posture, not really engaging with other children, but engaging with us, playing with himself, What I thought, because I was uneducated, is that he was just being independent. But you think about it now, a 2 or 3 year old being independent, is that something that really should sink in with us? Or should he be absorbing everything like a sponge, wanting to interact with his peers, no matter the age range, just wanted to be in the mix, right? Especially with boys, being that they are very rambunctious. Something that I did learn is that young males around the typical age of 3 or 4, the reason why, as neurotypical children, we tell them to stop, right? Stop doing that. Stop acting bad. Stop jumping around. They have extra testosterone that they're actually trying to release, right? So, me not knowing facts like that then, which I know now, Shane didn't exhibit no rambunctious behavior, except when it came down to lining things up or playing with his toy trains to be specific and lining them up correctly. If they didn't line up, he would get upset, right? Repetitive behavior, sensory differences, sensory overload, frustration into transitions. That was something that I noticed, but once again, I was uneducated and I did not know. Here's pictures. So the bold picture to the right is when Shane was actually born. That is literally about 15, no, excuse me, 30 to 45 minutes after he was born. I didn't know the importance of laying a baby skin to skin. And that's something that they actually don't teach. Now they do, with a lot of male doulas being involved in the delivery process. But it is very important to have skin to skin with your child. And then later on, you see the other picture there. I want you to capture that image in your mind, because I'm not smiling, right? And then you see my son, he's holding on for me, he's feeling protected. Coping with the diagnosis and emotional load. Us as fathers, we often experience stress, uncertainty, and isolation. We are pressured to stay strong. So, one key point, I'm gonna let you read the rest of this slide, but one thing I want to talk about offside slide, excuse me, and something that I realized in my life is that we all have baggage, we all have trauma from our past lives. If you do not deal with this trauma, you are going to subconsciously bring this trauma into your new life, into the life of your child. And when you get that diagnosis, it's going to take you to that breaking point where you disengage not only from your child and possibly your family, but also yourself. That picture that you see with me holding him in an older age was the point that I was disconnected. At that time frame, right then and there, he just received his diagnosis and I was already checked out, because I had so much trauma from early on in my life that I didn't know how to process it. So I was thinking about ways to get out of my marriage. I was currently married to his mother, married then to his mother, excuse me. And I was already thinking about ways to escape that marriage. It's important, fellas, that we deal with these issues that we have. So once we have to let go of our pride and our ego, and we have to talk about those things and work through those things. We're not perfect. Nobody's expecting you to be perfect, but I am expecting each one of us to be intentional and try to be the best man and the best father that we can be for our child. I failed that. I became one of the statistics when it came down to marriages and families that were broken apart due to a special needs child. I'm a part of that statistic. I just wanted to say that. The power of father to father connection. A lot of times we are worried about things that we need to do. I need to go to the gym. I need to work. Um, I need to be able to provide, right? Which is great attributes, right? These are things that are crucial to manhood, not just fatherhood, but manhood. But when you think about community, you think about these things, right? Isolation, stigma, community reduces these things. The fact that you guys are here today, listening to this presentation, being engaged into this father group. I see you guys have actual of visual meeting or actual in-person meetings, right? That is something that can go a long way, even though you don't feel the effects immediately. This improves the confidence in caregiving and long-term engagement. I'm going to tell you that when I got the diagnosis, I had no friends that understood autism, which made me feel so isolated and so alone. And at the time, once again, I had that unmet trauma. So my partner, my wife at that time, wasn't even considered in my mindset my friend because she was dealing with her issues and her understanding of being an autism father, but also she was blaming herself. So remember that grief has 7 stages, but there is no time frame on when you get out of those grief stages. So ultimately, because I didn't open up my mouth and say, I need help, I need a father to talk to, I became internally damaged even more. The straw that broke the camel back. This is not what I wanted. I don't like my child. I don't like my son. Why, God? Why did you do this to me? I deserve to have a normal child. I deserve to have a normal family. I want to hit the restart button. I'm out. So I left my son for the first 4 years of his life. I was not in his life, wasn't there. The power of connection. Make sure you don't leave your family, most importantly, your child, also yourself, that you stay intact. So I want to encourage all of you fathers to stay engaged into something like this. The fact that you logged on means a lot, but without it, you are destined to fail. That's what happens when we're not connected to each other, hearing stories, encouraging each other. This is fellowship in the term. It really is. So I talk to doctors all the time. And one of the biggest things that they are faced with is dying to themselves as far as ego and understanding that you, as the caregiver, you, as the father, the mother, the aunt, the uncle, whatever the case may be, you are the expert. But what they also struggle with is how to actually support you when giving you the diagnosis, when you're bringing your child in for a visit, when you have questions about medication or activities that your child do or different characteristics. They are struggling with this. Key points that we teach the physicians within my center and when I'm speaking to people is burnout is common. Us as men, we get burned out, but we don't show it. So we get burned out. We look like it physically, but what do we say? I'm all right. We're cool. Fathers often prioritize family over self care. This is something that we do on a consistent basis. I do this even when I was married, when I became single, and now that I'm married again, I'm still doing the same rat race. Oh, well, my family got to come first. You can't. One thing I want you to pay attention to. So, everybody here has been on a plane, right? And if you listen to the stewardess, right, but when we're taxiing onto the runway, what's one of the things that they actually say, right? When the oxygen mask drops from the down or from the ceiling, right? They say, in order for you to help the person next to you, you have to administer oxygen to yourself first. You are no good trying to get that onto your loved one's face if you can't support yourself first. Think about that. They tell us this all the time. The same thing goes with life. I was struggling with this. I was struggling with this because all I knew was to take care of my family in a sense. Because I was out there, I'm gonna be real, fellas. I was trash. I was out there doing me, flirting with women. I'm married. I'm doing whatever I want to, right? Because of those unmet traumas that I didn't meet, that I didn't take care of. But I was coming home, I was providing financially. So I thought that was enough. I wasn't playing or engaging with my child because I thought being raised by the streets that was my wife's job. Like she's the nurturer, so she's supposed to do that. I'm the enforcer and I'm the provider. That's the wrong mentality to have. This is also the reason why my marriage failed. This is also the reason why I'm a part of the statistics. When we start to be well, when we start to deal with those traumas, when we start to have friends that are in the same circle as us, when we start to open up and be real about the struggles that we have and not be embarrassed that we get too emotional about our child, that we just don't know what to do, we have better child outcomes. We have stronger family functionings, right? You and your co-parent or your wife or your girlfriend, you guys will be able to communicate. Now, keep in mind, apples and oranges, right? Men and women, we don't talk the same. But I will tell you this is that a woman will respect you more when you're able to articulate yourself without raising your voice, cursing, or demeaning her as the mother. 3 things for strong communication, and that will help both of you make valuable decisions that will put positive spins on the long-term care of your loved one. But you can't do it if you're isolated within yourself. Micro self-care, 10 to 15 minutes a day. Do something. Go to the gym. Take a long shower. Take a walk. Ride a bike. Be in the back. Listen to jazz music. Smoke a cigar. Whatever the case, do it. I don't know what your what they say your poison is, whatever the terminology is, but do something that gives you self-care 10 to 15 minutes a day. That energy that you're going to get in that 10 to 15 minutes is going to be crucial for you to be able to pour into those that you love, especially that child, especially that loved one. Shared caregiving planning. This is I want to come back to this one because we have things such as family court, right? Child support court. I'm in there. I'm in there currently right now. And I want to tell you one thing about the court system. And this is not my professional opinion. So this is not me speaking about this as an employee of the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. This is Jamiel just talking to one father, just Jamiel, a father talking to another father. The system was already set up to prioritize the mother's income, the mother's living arrangements, supporting the mother. It is not set up to support the father or to engage the father in winning a case or winning a particular ask or request. If you do not find a way, if you're in the system, if you do not find a way to articulate yourself without demeaning the mother, putting her down, she may drag you through the earth, drag you through the mud. But if you do not find a way to articulate yourself that shows that equal and dual support in both households to create a continuous care model for your child is what you're trying to do, you will never win in court. Hear me when I say this. You will never win in court because courts don't want to hear emotions. They want to hear facts and logic. Remember that. I'm going through this right now. And I will say this in front of all of you. I have been dragged through the dirt by my son's mother, and I will never do that to her. That's an integrity thing. That took me years to process that and get through that. Sure, there was a time that I did. But in order for you to be the best caregiver and to start talking about planning long term for your loved one, somebody got to be the bigger man. And I need that to be us, man, because that's the only way we're going to be able to get through the court system, be able to get through two separate households, be able to work together if we're married and we're living together. You got to be the bigger man. Looking ahead, first time in New York, that upper picture, that's when the Toys R Us store was there. So that tells you how long that picture was. That's my guy. And then the picture is a little recently. That's when he was 17. So about a year ago. We're in the transition planning. You see what this says on key points. Evidence, insight, motivation, and daily living skills development are critical for independence in young adults. Here's what I'm going to say about this. I had to experience in my lifetime the absence of my father until I was about 26, 27. My dad is in my life. He came, found me. I told him one request. I'll wipe your slate clean. Just be here now and continue to be there. And he has. And you know what? He wasn't there he's not here as a father. He's here as an advisor and as a friend. As a man, it is going to be very difficult for you to turn off the protection mode and to step back and be an advisor and a friend to your young adult with autism. But you have to do it. The worst thing that we can do as men is limit our children to what our safety barriers are. Our safety barriers don't matter. You know why? Because they're implied by us. What does your son want? What does your daughter want? Looking ahead, maybe you have smaller children. What does that look like as far as a successful life for your loved one? Is it you saying, oh, I want them to be an astronaut, I want them to be a lawyer, a mathematician? Or is it your daughter saying, oh, I want to work in a pet store, Or is it your son saying, hey, I want to work at Giant? Are we to challenge what they see as success and what they're interested in as a parent? Or are we to embrace what they're looking at because they're looking at independence the way they see it? We have to embrace that. One good thing I'll tell you about these pictures is that you see me holding my son. I am his protector. I am his provider. I carry him. And then the next picture down at the bottom, you see me beside him. I am now his confidant. I am now his advisor. I am protecting him, but in a different stance. Just like it says, we need to be the leaders of the household. We need to be the leaders when it comes down to understanding adulthood and independence. Navigating systems of support, you must be present at every single thing. There was a time, you see this picture here, Shane received this plaque for a transition into high school. I did not have a car. I walked 2 miles to make sure that I was there, to make sure that I get a picture that he understands and knows and sees me, that his dad is proud. What would you do on a consistent basis to make sure that you are there and present and navigating these systems of support? What does navigating systems of support mean? It means introducing yourself as a father who is intentional, who is learning what supports and what deficits your child has, but also reading up on what the positive outcomes is and suggesting new systems to help your child grow in the education system and in the job market. These are things that you have to be present for. But if you're not willing to take the extra mile to even get there, none of this is going to make sense. It's not going to matter. Before I my life was rough. I was all over the place. There was times I didn't have a car. I would take public transportation. It would take me 4 hours to get to him on public transportation, and it would take us 3 hours to get him back to my house. There was a bus stop that we had to stand, and if we missed that bus when I walked to his building to get him, if we missed that bus, we had to stand at that bus stop for an hour. And yes, I got tired and I got frustrated. I got angry at myself. I'm supposed to be a man, but I'm making my son stand out here for an hour as the cars ride by, thinking that everybody's looking at me. They don't care about me. They're getting on with their life. But what mattered the most is that my son held my hand and he knew that regardless of the time it took us to get home, that I was with him every step of the way. That transition right into the education system. When he had his IEP meetings, who was there? I don't care if I'm working. I sat there and made sure my break was during that time. And he saw my face on the screen and he knew I was there. And that's all that mattered to him, because to hear that your son is doing better is great. But to actually hear it, for you to see his face when he's getting those accolades, for him to see your face when he's getting those accolades, are a different situation. Be present. If you're not sure of your child's education system, write an email tomorrow introducing yourself. First thing I want you to do is apologize, because I had to do that to my son's IEP team. I'm sorry for not being here the first couple of years. My name is Jamiel Owens. I'm Shane's dad. What have I missed? Can you get me up to speed? Once again, it's an ego and pride issue. We have to clear that. Connect with people. Keep open for sessions just like this. That gives you community-based connections. That opens up a lot of information to you that you're able to learn. Follow people on social media. You got TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Use it. Use it. Not just for socializing or looking at everybody, looking at chicks, but actually use it to learn something. There are deficits, there are negative things with social media, but there's a lot of positives to it. And that is one. Strengthening communication and family connection. These are some things, just trying to go through it real quick. This was an autism walk that I celebrated with friends that I just met. And my brother there, the dark-skinned brother with the hat backwards, that's like my brother. When I was going through my early journey in life, I slept on his couch. I slept on his couch. And at the time, he couldn't see me growing into the man that I am today. He told me this recently. He's like, I'm really proud of you. But it took a lot of pain. It took a lot of turmoil in my life. But I still did things like this because my heart was open. I was going through pain myself, but my heart was open just to bring together people who were just like me, that did not know, that was less educated about autism, and make them get involved into something that made them feel good and educated about something. So that's our walk right there. I don't want to go over these key points because I want to make sure that I get to something that's most important. That's this. So with everything that I've done, and I want to play this video, and this is why I said that this is not just highlighting me in a workout. I have no PhD, no disrespect to everybody that's on here. I have none of that. I'm just a man with a GED that was raised by the streets, that almost took his own life by suicide because it became too stressful, that left his family, that left his child, that came back, that almost was homeless for a while. But years later, I was placed in a position to have a dream about a conference that brings together fathers. And I don't care what color you are. I don't care if you voted for the man in the White House right now or not. I don't care if you were a racist. Quite frankly, as long as you ain't say nothing disrespectful for me, if you have a loved one that suffers from autism, I'm fighting for them. Because this world, what we fight for in this world, doesn't need to affect the world that our loved ones live in. They don't see color. They feel energy. They vibe with people. And I came up with the Autism Fathers Conference that is now being called the Involved and Informed Conference. And I bring fathers all together in different locations throughout the Philadelphia tri-state area for a day of community building and learning. So I want to play this for you guys so you see this. Do I want to bring this to Texas? Yes, I do. Do I want to bring this anywhere all over the country? Yes, I do. And I want to see fathers like you standing up and introducing the keynote speaker or getting involved in things like this. You can do that. I don't care if you work at a gas station or you work in an office and you have your little corner office. You're a CEO. You can do things like this. If I can do it, you can do it. But it takes us to come together as men to shed our differences, to shed our pride and our egos. Let me play this right now so you can see this.
And today is a really special day coming to this conference where we really look to support the whole autism community, but particularly focusing on the role of fathers and male caregivers.
So yeah, I mean, it was good stuff. And then coming here, it's my third year here.
Reminiscent of thinking that we had the components to succeed.
But the first thing is you gotta say, hey, it's going to be okay. Many people live this life. Many people do wonderful things in this life. And yes, your life won't be what you expect it to be, but it'll be okay.
In the sports and the other activities, and then you become a father and it changes you. And you do have that moment of self-doubt. Am I ready to be a parent?
I can say the fact that it's here this year is impressive, and seeing all the cars in the parking lot and seeing the lively activities taking place makes us want to engage with this organization for many years to come.
I really want to build community with other dads, other parents as well, but particularly you don't hear a lot about other dads. So this is an event to kind of bring them guys together so we can kind of all hear from our perspectives.
And then ultimately you're asked just to not only just trust, but to endure within that understanding that you may not get the life that you want.
As parents of autistic children, you spend a lot of time apologizing, for behaviors and things like that. And some of these are things that, you're super sensitive about, that, maybe typical behaviors, you're hypersensitive to it. And in these environments, you feel just like one of everyone else, like everyone gets it.
And you can feel hopeful. And this is a space where it engenders hope.
She'll listen to cliches and she lives by them. So life gives you lemons, she'll bark, just make lemonade.
It's really important for fathers to be involved and engaged and learn and recognize that there's a community of support for them.
Every person is different. And so we had to figure out what does it look like to live a new life now that we have this diagnosis. And it was very difficult. But we learned how to maneuver and become nimble, if you will.
But it's great to be with a group of gentlemen that can understand.
Yeah.
Because the average person doesn't understand.
you take not only just the information, but you take the relationships, because in a lot of ways that's how we thrive and how we survive.
The feeling of alone, like you know what you want to have happen and you know what needs to have happen, but you don't know where to turn to make these things happen. To have a place like CHOP that can bring all the resources together in one spot, I can go around and talk to people, and I might have a question that pops up that I didn't have before.
I've got a 12-year-old or almost 12-year-old autistic son, so I come here to the conference to talk with other dads and share stories and hear about everything everyone's going through and kind of be a community together.
So I know all those dads that were actually talking. The one dad, his name is Rocky. He lost his wife. So him and his wife had a rocky relationship. He left the home. His daughter has autism. He came back, and then his wife died. And he is a single father trying to navigate life with an autistic daughter. And the first year that I met him, he told me his story and was about to cry. And I was like, did my conference impact this? Like, for this man, this white man who don't know me, from a can of paint, to sit there and just talk to me, come to this conference, build community, and talk to this black man about the struggles that he's going through. And me and Rocky are good. That's my guy. And he comes to every conference. Our farthest conference attendee every year for 3 years comes from Chicago. He books a flight or drives and comes to the conference wherever it's at. This year, our conference was in Wilmington, Delaware. Our dad that arrived first, the furthest, was Virginia Beach, Virginia. He was the first dad there on the conference day. So this is important. If you want to make a flight up here when I announce the next one, come on up here. It's definitely worth it. But I will tell you, in order for you to be a part of this conference, to build community, to take your advocacy to the next level, your intentionality when it comes down to your family and your loved one, you have to die to yourself first. You have to get rid of any of the traumas that you have lived with. You have to bury that deep, and you have to now start thinking about your child and how they see the world, and put yourself immersely in that world. This is not like a one-day step thing. It's a process, but you have to start somewhere. This is my guy when he was around 5 or 6. This is his graduation picture. This is him. He did it. He did it. I will never forget this picture. But he only did it because I allowed myself to be a part of it. I was the reason why. He could have did it alone and I would have been removed from it. It was me. But I allowed myself to shed open my heart, to love on my child, to be vulnerable, to be wrong, to be right, to be mindful of the spaces that I'm talking in, to learn. And I get to share this moment with him. And I did, and I got to see him walk across the stage, and I cried. I cried because he did it. What are you going to do? So I want to end with that. That is my contact information right there. Reach out to me if you feel like you want to talk. John did mention I'm a Houston native. I was born in Harris County, Houston, Texas. So that's my home. I love it. But I live up here in PA. There's nothing that you can't reach out to me and talk to me about that I have not been in. Please reach out to me directly. We can talk one-on-one confidentially. And I can share you some of the wisdom that I have that hopefully one day you can share with your loved one, or you can share with another autism father that's close to you. What's that?
I'd like to thank you, sir. That was incredible. Before
Thank you for joining us on the Autism Dads Social Club video podcast. We hope you found our content insightful and engaging. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on our latest videos. If you enjoyed this podcast, Give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family who might benefit from it. I'm your host, Frederick Jackson, saying until next time, keep learning, growing, and embracing the autism journey. Take care, and we'll see you on our next podcast.
Disclaimer: the content presented in Autism Dads Social Club video podcast is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Autism Dads Social Club as a whole. The information provided in this podcast is not intended to substitute professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Viewers are encouraged to consult with qualified professionals regarding any questions or concerns related to autism or parenting. Autism Dads Social Club disclaims any liability for any loss or damage arising directly or indirectly from the use of or reliance on the information provided in this podcast.